So first, ensuring they're positive, you really want to make sure that that's a big part of your initial sourcing and vetting the product, that you are doing inspection of the factory before you work with them, that you are doing an inspection before you pay for the final order and check the goods really well, right? And make sure they have a high quality product. It's the best way to ensure that you don't get negative reviews. How do you get more positive reviews? One, there's some things on Amazon you could do, like there's a request review button on every order that you can request a review. Using software, you can automate that, so definitely recommend you do that. Review rates have increased over the last few years, and the reason is because Amazon allows you now to just do a rating instead of writing a review. You could just put in the stars. So rates have gone up. If you do the request review button, that's going to help. And then the best way is to really have a high velocity of sales. The more sales you get, the more reviews you're going to get. That's, in my opinion, the best way. Some other things you can do is, the more you can wow the person, maybe the more likely they are to leave a review. So if you have some kind of really nice packaging or things like that that are going to kind of make the person maybe want to write a review, could be that they will help. But I really think the answer is drive more sales. If you drive more sales, you can drive more reviews, and it's actually a specific focus that you should have when you're launching a product. You should launch a product with the initial goal of gaining traction and gaining reviews as opposed to profitability from day one. So drop the price, run ads, get that sales velocity, because the more reviews you get, you need a certain social proof on Amazon in order to get sales. If you have 5 reviews, I'm much less likely to buy your product. So I need more incentive, right? I'm probably gonna need a lower price or something to buy the product. But when you get to 200 reviews, I probably don't need it. So in the beginning, you really should focus on driving that sales velocity. So Amazon has put more stock limits on vendors, on sellers, and it's impacted sellers in a big way. It used to be that you can import your product from China directly into Amazon's warehouse and then sell the product because the storage was cheaper and you had less fees around it. Amazon has increased those prices as their own costs have gone up also during the pandemic and after. So today you have to use third-party warehouses more. You have to import your product, bring it to a third-party warehouse, from there ship it into Amazon. Amazon also created their own, let's say, third-party warehouse, something called AWD, Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, that allows you to store inventory at a warehouse, and they only ship into Amazon's actually shipping warehouses for you. So they created kind of their own platform for it. But it's definitely impacted sellers. So you need to be able to, forecast your inventory better. Sometimes you'll need to just sell through inventory faster just to avoid paying storage fees. And so it definitely does impact sellers. Amazon recently added something called the Capacity Manager that actually now allows you to bid for more space. So they've turned the warehouse into like a bidding opportunity. It could be good, could be bad, but you can bid for more storage. And if you sell through the inventory within a certain amount of time, you actually get credits back against what you bid. So if you're very confident that you're going to sell through the inventory, you can potentially open up more space. I think this is a good thing. But definitely, the use of third-party warehouses for sellers or your own warehouse is definitely a must today. You can't just use Amazon's warehouses anymore because of the fees involved. I think you have to have a high degree of confidence on your ability to sell through that inventory if you are going to, bid for more capacity. The more confident you are, the more you can bid and potentially get that space. But you need to have a high degree of confidence, or you'll need to do kind of what it takes in order to sell through that inventory, or you're going to be penalized with fees. But if you're going to launch a new product and it's coming down to the fourth quarter and you need the space, the ability to potentially bid for it and have that space is a benefit. Definitely advertising on Amazon, you should prioritize over Google Ads. We've run a lot of Google Ads into Amazon, but we generally find the conversion rates are a lot lower, somewhere, I don't know, around 2% versus, conversion rates on Amazon, 10% plus, 10, 20, 30%. So definitely I would prioritize that. And I'm not a big proponent of Google Ads into Amazon. It's an issue because unlike your own website, Amazon is an algorithm ultimately, and it's a search algorithm. And Amazon wants to show products to customers that have certain reliability and that are in stock. And so let's say, for example, I'm selling a vitamin C supplement and I go buy it, but now I want to go next month and buy it again and it's not available. That's a bad customer experience. So Amazon generally wants to show products that are in stock and stay in stock. That means that if you run out of stock, when you come back into stock, you probably lost some ranking in the algorithm, or some organic ranking. And again, depending on how long you've been out of stock, how long your product's been in place, right? There's going to be different factors. If you just launched a product and you went out of stock for months, 2-3 months, it's often hard to recover those rankings. So when you order a new product, you have to kind of balance the potential of the product not selling well and having too much inventory, as well as the product potentially selling very well and not having enough inventory. And so you have to kind of place your order with that balance and understand what your reorder time is for production, when you can get more units in, and when you might have to order more inventory. How to avoid being out of stock, making sure you have enough inventory, and potentially using solutions that will help you fund those orders, because the faster you grow in e-commerce, the more money you need for inventory, right? So as an example, I just placed my initial order of 1,000 units for a product. I launched it. The first week is starting to sell well, and I realized I'm gonna have to order more, but I haven't sold through the inventory, and maybe I'm willing to sell this inventory at a loss just to get traction. So I'm not necessarily even making money. Maybe I'm breaking even or losing money. I need more money to place more inventory. I haven't recouped my money yet, or part of my money yet. I'm going to need potentially funding to grow that, and that's where 8Fig comes in, and it's a great solution for having the capital to be able to fund those product orders. So I don't think there's any one product category. I would say there's multiple categories that I think could be good. Also, depending on where you want to go, sometimes boring product categories, things that a lot of people aren't going into, could be good. At the same time, an area where people are really passionate about something could be good, because you could build an audience around it. So I think you really want to think of something that maybe something about, but also has that data behind it for demand. So keyword level demand on Amazon, a category that's growing is always good. But there's many categories that could be good. But when I think of ones offhand, home and kitchen, home products, sports and outdoors, office products, even industrial and scientific products, electronics. It could be a whole set of different categories that could be good. All those are good. Pets, popular and growing. So I think you could be successful in pretty much any category. But you want to look at the data, and also, again, if you want to pick something that you know something about, I think it could be helpful. It's not necessarily a must, but I think it could be helpful. Marketplace Pulse did some research and found that Amazon is taking about 50% of the revenue of Amazon sellers. So first, let's understand where that 50% comes from. So the 50% comes from the referral fees, what's called that 15% commission Amazon takes, the fulfillment fee that Amazon takes, the storage fees, and also advertising. So pretty much everything it takes to kind of sell on Amazon amounts to about 50%. I don't think it's necessarily very different when you're selling through your website, because you still have to pay for fulfillment. You still have to pay for traffic and ads. You still have to pay for storage at a warehouse. So I don't think it's necessarily different anywhere else. It just means that when planning your product, you need to make sure you have the margins in place to make up that 50%. And it means, when you're selling on Amazon, you need to sell, at 4 or 5x your price that you bought the product, typically, in order to have success. Again, depending on what your product price is. If you're selling higher priced products, it doesn't necessarily need to be as high, but if you're selling a $50 product, $35 product, you need to have the margin there, and you need to account for it. So I think the fact that this is kind of out there should help sellers figure out, how much they should be buying for a product and how much they can sell a product for. And I think you should give yourself some room, because sometimes you'll go into a market and more new competitors will come in and the price may go down even. So give yourself even a little bit more room beyond this to make sure you can sustain if you have to drop the price too. So I think the biggest lesson is that don't chase the hype. If you're first to market in a niche, then that's amazing. You can take advantage of it, and there may be some amazing short-term benefits and then some longer-term benefits. There's still people that are selling fidget type of products and have successful brands around them, not just fidget spinners, but fidget cubes and all kinds of products to help people that perhaps have, ADHD or certain that have certain needs for these types of products, and then just kids that might want to have fun with it. But generally speaking, if you already see a lot of people with this product and it's on the news, and it's too late. And oftentimes things like this are a fad of a product that has just a lot of sales, and then we'll taper off. So you shouldn't, unless it's already not out there in a big way, you shouldn't chase this product, and you shouldn't chase the hype, because you're probably gonna lose in this. And I've seen this over and over again, where people are chasing something, and by that point it's already too late. So I think it's the biggest lesson. Also, stay focused. Don't chase shiny objects. I think this is in any area in your business. And the worst thing to do as a business owner, I think, is make a decision out of FOMO, fear of missing out, right? You should not make decisions coming from a place of fear or a place of lack, because I think it's going to typically lead to bad business decisions. So, this is an area that I think you learn with some experience. But generally speaking, some people made money with the fidget spinners, but by the time you heard about it, probably the people that sourced it at that point ended up losing money because they were chasing something. It's kind of like, it's kind of like buying Bitcoin when it's all over the news and everyone's talking about it, right? You're probably close to the high at that point, right? When your grandmother asks you about Bitcoin, right? It's probably too late to buy it at that point. You want to wait till it goes down, right? It's kind of the same concept. So I think trends are very helpful, but you also want to evaluate if it's a fad or if it's just a rising trend, right? So some of the best ways to do that are things like Google Trends, Amazon search volume. Amazon within the platform itself has something called Product Opportunity Explorer, where they actually give you this data and they show you search volume over time. There's also third-party tools that show you this, but Amazon actually shows you a lot of this data. There's also some paid services outside of Amazon. There's one called Glimpse, which you should sign up for free just to check it out. There's a free monthly email you get with some trending categories, and then there's a paid version that gives you more. But again, you want to see if it's already too late by the time it's on Glimpse, for example. But finding areas that are growing, I think is a good opportunity. One thing I recently thought about in general in category and products was something related to cold plunges. So I see it a lot on social media, people doing these cold plunges, going into 40-degree water. And it's been something that's happening for some time, but it's trending up. in my mind, I don't see this as a fad because there's a lot of scientific data back that this is actually healthy and this is good for you. So I would classify that as a trend versus a fad. So you need to make sure that you're understanding, which category it's in. And then there's lots of different tools that you can utilize to, to see if something is trending. I would say one area to start with things you know about and check them. And then another area is if you start with the data and are using tools, there's tools from Jungle Scout and Helium that help you sort of look at the Amazon catalog in a different way to identify growing areas. Then you can check if they're trending up over time or if they're trending down. I would say before Brexit, I think it was easier to sell throughout Europe because Amazon sellers would just send their inventory to the UK, and from the UK you can get fulfillment into the additional 4 other countries: Italy, Spain, France, and Germany. Today, if you want to sell in the UK and in Europe, you have to store inventory in both places. So from that standpoint, I think it was easier before Brexit. It's probably the main thing that I've noticed about selling in Europe in general.